Hello, I'm Michael from Ulysses Spiele, and next to me is James from the Grimdark Podcast. Hello, James.
Hello, how you doing, Michael?
I'm fine. We just had a demo game of Wrath&Glory here at the Ulysses office. But before we get closer into that, what is your background with Warhammer 40k?
Okay, well, first of all, let me say thank you to Ulysses for inviting me along to the playtest today. So, as you mentioned before, I'm the host of the Grimdark Podcast, which is a podcast that follows Warhammer 40k role-playing in all its forms. Obviously, we've followed the Fantasy Flight game systems for many years. We're sort of getting close to 100 episodes now, and recently we've now started following, obviously, what Ulysses is doing. I've been playing 40k since 40k existed. I worked for the first Games Workshop store in Australia. I used to do some writing as well for White Dwarf in Australia too. So I've been heavily involved with 40k for a long time. Back into playing the war game again too with the most recent edition. So,
okay, that's quite a lot of experience. So, okay, what was your impression from the playtest we just had of Wrath&Glory?
Well, I had a lot of fun. That's the important part. You know, it's a fair indictment system that you can actually put it aside and just focus on and actually enjoying the game. That's what we really did. It was a good group to play with, including yourself as well. I know that some of the design concepts that Ulysses is going for is really capturing the 40k feel, making it fast-paced, making it feel brutal. And I'd say that we ticked those boxes today. It was good coming in that most of the players, I think all the players had a good knowledge of 40k, so we could really play to the archetypes that we were playing in the game. And that, it was definitely fast-paced. I mean, I'm so used to role-playing games where, it's an old joke that it takes 10 seconds to do a 3-hour walk and 3 hours to do a 10-second fight. That's not the case here. It was a much faster combat resolution system, a lot more dynamic, and it did certainly capture that field as well.
So besides the critical hits, what did you enjoy in the game system?
Well, I enjoyed the critical hits too. Are you saying they shouldn't be enjoyed? No. Yeah. Okay, so I mentioned before that the game has basic archetypes, character archetypes that fit those 40k things that you want to play. So there were good opportunities there to play different characters that we all enjoyed, and that the resolution system is so. I was saying to the team before that I think that when you're designing a new game, you either go for a generic setting and make a really innovative system, or you focus on a setting you are doing, like a known IP, and you make the system fit that setting. So I'm not going to lie and say it's all about innovation and new things, and I was like blown away with. It's an easy to use system. It's a dice pool system. We've used dice pool systems. It uses D6s. I've used D6s before. The learning time for it is very, very fast. So you're not going to be spending a lot of time trying to remember, how do I do this? What do I do next? You can look at your dice pool straight away and say, okay, I've rolled this number of dice. I can work out how that's resolved in the combat actions or in the standard actions in a moment. There's no sort of looking up charts or working out what's the next thing to do now. I've rolled these dice. How do I interpret that? It's all very easy to use.
So critical hits and some other mechanics are used via cards instead of tables. Do you think that's a good idea?
So this is one I've had a long chat with other people about when it comes to cards and games, because whenever you look at a role-playing game, most role-playing games have a book, a set of dice, and pencils, and that's what you need to play. Once you add in additional complexity, you've got to make sure that complexity also adds a payoff. So I want to use weird, different coloured dice. I want to use cards. I want to use media somehow. The complexity of adding those in has to actually add a lot to the game. So I know that one of the other properties that Ulysses works on is Torg. I played Torg when it first came out. The original Torg game from West End had a card deck system. I've still got my Torg books. I've got no idea where the cards are. So the use of those cards is forever locked out to me. So I'd say that if you're going to include cards, the cards have to really give a payoff in the game that you're going to say, okay, well, it's worthwhile having this and keeping these and buying the deck, whatever the case may be, and possibly even having an option to not use the cards if that's not the way that your group wants to work. But I did find, so the critical hits, certainly being a card-based system, that worked very well. Everyone was picking up. Everyone was looking forward to seeing what did I get, reading out the fluff on the card as well, because that's always, critical hit just does 3 more damage. Is not as fun as a critical hit that says, your blow severs your opponent's head, that sort of thing. So it was good. It was a lot of fun. I remember critical tables back to the first Warhammer Fantasy RPG, and that was one of those sort of things that is uniquely Warhammer.
Yeah, you had an enemy and it's D4 meters right to that direction.
Right, yeah, everyone's going for the furthest distance with their head every time, yes.
It was really odd, but I think it shouldn't be a problem to include a table in the book, or you can just draw a card, whatever you like, because the card, in my experience, makes the game much faster.
Yeah, that's it. It was about the speed there, definitely. So we didn't need to open up the material once. Everything we needed to play with was on our character sheets. There was no going through the book looking for information, weapon stats, etc. It was all just on a single page we could play the game.
What do you think of using just one rule book for all the materials that will come after in comparison to the FFG approach with core books for every game line?
Okay, so I don't want to say I told you so, but I said this like years ago, that we wish that this is the way they'd done like Dark Area set in the first place, was to have a generic setting. And the rumours I heard were that was not part of the sort of design language that Games Workshop were going for when they had it under Black Industries. But yeah, I think that I've played a lot of game systems that use this as a concept, like the White Wolf World of Darkness system, for example. And I think this is literally, if nothing else changed, this is the best thing about how it's being produced, is the way to actually go with core book with the rules, enough to get playing with just that, and then setting books particular to what you want to play. And they've announced, I think, Imperium Nihilus and Doom of the Eldar, and it's my biggest disappointment with the old system was there was never a real opportunity to play Eldar. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the Eldar edition of the game.
So you're Xenos lover, but do you only looking towards Eldar or Orcs and Tau and something like that also?
So I've been in 40k long enough that the Tau still bother me as an added Xenos race, and Orcs are fun. I don't know if I could really. I could campaign an Eldar character. Like it's easy to get character development with an Eldar. I think maybe with an Orc. We joked on our show recently about how do you do character development with a Tyranid, for example. Yeah, well, people want to play Tyranids. I've actually found house rules online for playing Tyranids in Rogue Trader. Okay. So, no, I mean, for me, I've always played Imperial characters. When I go into reading the novels, for example, I actually enjoy reading Imperial novels more than Space Marine specifically. I like to know more about the Imperium and the lives of normal people. I've played that a lot. I've been running Dark Heresy since it first came out. So I think that if I was going to go something that's not Imperium, that's why the sort of Eldar concept is the most interesting, because it does give that scope for character development, but also it's different enough from what we've always played to be really something I look forward to trying.
Besides your love for the Eldari, is there something else you wish that should be included in Wrath and Glory at a certain point?
So I think that if I think back to what was really innovative with the FFG line, for example, I thought that the Starship system, when we had Rogue Trader first came out, that was a really innovative system that really drew me into that game. I'd like to see, I think that war machines are a big part of the 40k setting, everything from your humble Rhino up to Titans of War, basically. And I think that when it's a character-based game, some of that can sometimes become just background material. It's you're a group of people slogging it on foot in a battleground on which there's Titans. To be able to include those concepts into the game as something that players can interact with and experience is probably one of the big challenges I think that Ulysses will face, and I'd like to see that come through that well. So,
okay, James, thank you very much, and enjoy your trip back home.
Thank you very much for your time, and once again, thanks for inviting me along. It was a great opportunity to try out the game, and I'm only looking forward to it being released now more. So.
We will see to that. Bye.